I'm okay. Do you want the good news or the bad news?
The bad news.
The bad news? The bad news is that I was... Hi everyone. Today, well, as you can see, it is spring. In all of our videos, it has been in the depths of winter, but it is springtime now, and we are working so hard on trying to keep all of our videos up to date. But life is so busy during the build, and today we're actually just taking a break here to do some horseback riding lessons with the kids. But in today's video, we are going to be assembling the other gable end for the wall of our house on the south end. And once this wall is done, that's most of the framing of the house all done and ready to go. So anyways, enjoy the video, and we look forward to getting into the actual spring parts of the build that we're doing right now. I'd love to show you the stages that we're actually at right now, but you're going to just have to wait until we have time to actually get those videos uploaded. Now, both of those bottom portions of the gable wall are finished. You can see in the drawing right here, there's a section on this side and this side. They're both now built. Now I can just like carry them into place. I still have to put some sill plate on the bottom of them so that there's a barrier between the concrete and the wood. Still have to put that on, and on the first wall that was built, there was none of those metal brackets. So I'm gonna move this one that I just constructed out of the way, put the metal brackets on that one. Then those are both ready to go. Okay, well, I was standing around thinking, okay, what am I gonna do next? Because it was too late to start fastening down the sill plates because it would have just been too much equipment to bring out too close to the end of the day. And I was thinking, okay, if I'm gonna be putting on the house wrap within the next week, which is the goal, I have a bunch of material that I want inside the house before we put the house wrap up. I want all my OSB that's gonna go on the inside walls. I want all that in. I want all of the studs that I'm gonna use to build the interior walls. I want all the plywood that's going to be used for the top, like the decking on the second floor. Like, there's a lot of things I want to try to get inside here before I put that wall on and close off the house. And so I've been digging stuff out for the last 25 minutes or so, and the telehandler started. So what I'm going to try to do now is see if I can't get some of that material inside the house right now, in a way that it won't be in my way when it comes time to start putting on the interior, like the sheathing, or so that it won't be in the way of me actually building the walls, like framing everything in. Whoops. Okay. Well, that sucks. The hydraulics were so cold that I couldn't retract the arm. And so I was thinking I can reverse backward, but to do that I had to lift the stabilizers. When I did that, it tipped forward and the plywood started to slide, so I thought, okay, I'll try to set the forks down. And before I got a chance to do that, the pallet, the skid, actually just completely broke apart. The whole thing fell over, and I was trying so hard to avoid the plumbing for the kitchen island. Look at that. Within an eighth of an inch of snapping our plumbing for our kitchen island. I'm so thankful that missed. But now I have a humongous problem on my hand. I gotta restack 109 sheets of OSB by hand. Woohoo! This is Katie right now. I just dumped this over. Hey!
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. Do you want the good news or the bad news?
The bad news.
The bad news? The bad news is that I was moving the one lift of OSB into the house. Like I dug it out and I was moving it into the house and it fell off of the skid. Like the skid broke apart.
Okay.
The good news is that none of the sheets appear to be damaged. And I managed to miss our kitchen island by about half of an inch. So now I am moving 109 sheets of OSB by hand. Okay, well, that was a lot of work that I didn't plan on doing tonight, but there's some goods, there's some positives out of this whole experience. Positive number one, with the telehandler, there was no way that I was going to be able to use this back half of the house for storage for the supplies. So I was starting to wonder, like, where am I going to fit everything that I need in here before we actually wrap the house in? And so positive number one, I now have a bunch of plywood inside of what is going to be our bedroom. That was just going to be empty space during the build. I have it away from the wall so that when we need to run electrical or plumbing or whatever through the walls, there's still lots of room to get around it. Not an issue there. The other plus is that I now have that lift of plywood into two piles. And a lot of it, probably actually the majority of that plywood, needs to go up onto the second half of the house. This is all the sheeting that goes up on the inside of the wall or the ceiling, call it what you will. And so part of it is still bound and wrapped and everything, so I'm actually gonna, probably tomorrow with the telehandler, try to lift it up and put it up on top of the second floor, if I can do that safely. Because if it falls from up there, then I'm in lots of trouble. So that's good. I'm glad that that happened, and I'm glad that it's now stacked. Now I just need to get a tarp, cover this all up, cover that one up, and then I can then I can get out of here. It's funny, I haven't actually had to use these lights since the fall when I was out here prepping for the foundation and stuff. This is the first time I've had to use those lights in a long time, and it's kind of nice. Today's a mild day. I don't mind being out here when it's kind of mild and dark, and with these lights, like, I feel like I could continue working here. So that makes me feel good. Even once we get the house wrap on, it makes me feel good knowing that with these lights I can still do some level of work without having to get like a big industrial light in here. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap these up and then go home and have some supper with Katie and the kids. So I just tried to put the lift of OSB down, but I can't see anything. Like, all of the joists are in my line of sight and I couldn't see, and I'm like trying to get it all level so I can, it's not gonna work. Plus the skid that it's all on, the pallet it's on, is all busted apart. So it's getting the forks are getting pinched. And so anyway, I'm gonna climb up there and I'm gonna just unstack all the OSB. It's not that much. I'll just move it and then I can actually get it further into the house as well. So it'll be hopefully not in the way as much. So that's what I'm gonna go do now. What a productive morning. I have all the material that I can get inside the house, except for the windows. I might try to get them in, but I've got all the studs, all of the plywood, it's all in there. And now everything else that's up here is for the outside of the house. And so that's good. A friend of mine just showed up and we're gonna see if we can't get started on framing this last gable wall into place. Yeah, what a good morning so far. It's going well. Hey everyone, I'm about to move on to the next stage of the gable end, but I wanted to pause for a second. There's something I need to address before I keep building up. Okay, so this is the stud on this side of the patio door, and you can see that one over there. I want to make sure that this is a perfectly straight line going down here. So down on the ground, down on the ground here, you can see that I have a long 2x10. It's sitting up against the edge of the wall, and when I take, it's the only tool I've got to try to measure it, but when I put this speed square in the corner, on that wall, it's square. It's perfect. On this one, it is not square, it is not perfect. There's about a ½ inch gap. So then when I also took, where's my level? When I took my level to check the plumb, or if it's straight up and down, that wall over there is plumb, it's good, but on this one right here, you can see that the top is this way too much. So to change that, I can't change the position of the top, but I can pull out the bottom, and that'll make it so that that's plumb, which means straight up and down. And by pulling the bottom this way, it will also make it so that it's square with one another. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna screw some bracing into this board, screw it all in, so that it won't move on that wall. And then on this side, I'm gonna try to see if I can pull the wall that way so that I can get some bracing in behind it. Then I can leg it all into the concrete, and hopefully when it comes time to actually put this window in place, hopefully this work will make it so that that job is a whole lot easier. Change of order of operations. I was just trying to pull this wall, and I thought to myself, in pulling this one so it's flush with the other one, I might actually adjust that one, and that one's sitting plumb and everything. So I'm gonna actually fasten that other side down to the concrete right now. So go get all the compressor, the concrete drill, all that stuff. I'll fasten that down, and then I can try to pry this one. What I'll actually do is I'll screw down to this brace that I have supported on, and then I'll pull the brace, use the leverage. Man, what a genius. Pull that one and screw it down on that side rather than trying to adjust it here, because there's no leverage over here. Well, that feels good to have done. Both parts of the sill plate of the dormer are now fastened to the concrete. That's not moving. The walls are plumb in both directions, so that's good as well. So at least the patio door will fit nice and tight and square, hopefully. Did I mention I've never built a house before? So hopefully that's all good. Got the telehandler to start, which is excellent because hopefully it's excellent. I'm gonna see if I can build the upper part on the ground here and just lift the whole thing up in one piece. Might make it easier, might make it incredibly more difficult. We'll only find out if we try. I have the gable wall finished, except for a few studs that will go up after I get it lifted into place. A few things that might go wrong. It could be that perhaps the V is open a little bit too, or I guess it's this way, it could be open too wide. But if that's the case, I will fasten down one side, and then if I have to, put a ratchet strap around it to try to pull the other side into place. Actually, I think that's about it that could go wrong as far as measurements, and if that happens, worst case scenario, I just have to bring it down and either dismantle or just make some modifications. I don't think that's gonna be the case though. I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic. I'm gonna lift this thing in the air right now, and it's all gonna go perfectly. It's going to, Lord willing.